I take no pride in winning this lane matchup, and honestly, this video isn't about the lane matchup. A lot of Urgot players have talked to me about how Urgot just feels like this champion who's sort of difficult to transition into the mid to late game. Of course, in the professional scene, it's beginning to be seen actually how you can do that. But one of the major things that I want to highlight is that Urgot isn't this sort of champion that just stays in lane. He doesn't stay in lane. After about 14 to 15 minutes, he wants to be roaming around and doing things, actually pulling things off. And that's what I do in this video. I don't really focus much on the lane matchup. Instead, it's a game about pushing and pulling in game momentum. It's about when to take dragon, how you're going to set up for dragon. And you'll see that even though I take Ghost and Flash, I have much more control over the map because of my knowledge and just mastery of minion wave momentum and timing than this Vladimir with teleport could ever possibly have. So I started with a crystalline flask, natural start, and 2 health potions, as well as 1 mana potion. Then I recalled a little before 130, got the mana potion. Now the Urgot versus Vladimir matchup, I guess I'll just touch up on that a little bit. It's, it's honestly pretty easy. Urgot has the upper hand at level 2, level 3, for a very, very long time actually. One of the only times that Urgot actually has problems is level 1, if Vladimir gets a lot of harass on him. But just past that, there isn't really too much that Vladimir can do. So it's just CSing for a little while. Jarvan's getting his little buff, Vi's getting hers. You want to think about what you can do. Jarvan, his clear is generally pretty bad. He has to recall very early on. But Vi doesn't see anything after she gets the Scuttle Crab, so it's just continuing in the lane. And I'm conserving my mana potions over here. Although, right, okay, so notice over there, one thing I actually want to touch up on is that I did call up Vi after she decided that it probably wasn't possible. Like, see for instance, okay, so the minion wave is pushing in, so we've got just a very small window to gank him. If we do gank him right now, then we can potentially kill him, maybe get his flash. But if we don't, then the minion wave will push up, and I'll be very gankable by Jarvan. So it's just that timing. You want to pick the right time. And unfortunately, he gets away, but he's at very low health. That was my cat jumping on to some cabinets and not making it. She fell. That's my cat asking to get up on cabinets. That's Zed getting first blood, which is very unfortunate. And so Vladimir was forced out. He used his flash, now he used his teleport, so there's really not too much you can do. Not much he can do. I've got how much gold? Okay, so I just purchased a tier and some... Okay, so I got a vision ward. The idea behind that is, now that I'm ahead, I kind of want to push up and start to just force things around the map. I want to see if I can get Scuttle Crab whenever it's up, see if I can roam to mid lane, maybe flash alt Zed. Because Urgot's roaming potential, especially when you take Ghost and Flash, is really potent. Ghost and Flash, I received another question kind of about why I choose to take it over, say, Teleport, which seems almost essential in this meta. And I've found that even in really high-ranked scenarios, in high diamonds, in team scenarios, I've found that I'm able to make much more happen with Ghost and Flash. You see, it's not just pressure around the map, that's the singular teleport use. Ghost and Flash is really strong in team fights because it allows you to weave in and out, and it gives mobility to the immobile Urgot Crab. In the professional scene, you see Urgot just in the back line, and that does actually kind of make sense. It's just about the kind of players that the Urgot players, the kind of playstyles that they're going for. So in the professional scene, you have people using Urgot just as this sort of tank shredder. He's used to complement the AD carry or the AD mid laner or whatever you have, whatever they do when they pick Urgot AD carry. And so he just stays in the backline and shreds them. And you know, you can do that, but in solo queue and in pretty much everything else except for the most extreme levels of team play, I'd say, in that sort of thing, you want to be able to focus on your solo play potential. And that was pretty, you know, that kill with Vladimir, I guess he kind of just overestimated his capabilities. If I hadn't ulted, he might have been able to kill me. But I kept both of my summoner spells, so it's really kind of questionable what Vladimir did. This is something very unique. So I was recalling, and then I decided not to. I decided to finish pushing it up. It's not for the gold. It's because following this, I told my team there are two things that Vladimir can do. He can stay at his turret and just freeze the lane. And if he does freeze the lane, then I'm going to go directly for Dragon, and we can take it for free. If he pushes the lane, then I'm going back top lane, so it's just the same. So Vladimir decides to freeze. And soon enough, I'm going for the Dragon. Now because I'm going for this sort of roam, these early fights, I'm starting with a pickaxe. I'm going directly for Muramuna as fast as possible. Touching back on Ghost and Flash, adding that mobility to Urgot in a team fight allows him to take the forefront, and it allows him to continuously apply Acid Hunters even when he doesn't have any protection. So you may see it a little bit in this game, and if you look through the rest of my videos as well as the future videos hopefully to come very soon, you're going to see a lot of it. Over here I did use Ghost to rush on in because I saw that some stuff was happening over here. I honestly feel that Ghost wasn't very necessary to secure this kill. Yeah, it wasn't necessary, but I mean, speedy crap. Usually you want to use it for more useful scenarios. Say in top lane, you can also use it in the lane. It's kind of like the middle ground between Ignite and Barrier, because for Urgot, the idea is that you've got all this consistent damage. You're not burst damage, you're consistent. So you want to so I got a Noxian Corrosive Charge on Vladimir, and he just made the mistake of trying to attack me. I ulted him under the turret, and it's a classic Urgot trick. He flashes away, but I've got flash too, hey! So, in lane, you can just take Ghost, and the great thing about it is that it raises the skill cap tremendously. So, Ghost allows you to constantly apply Acid Hunters and auto attacks to an opponent who is retreating or who is difficult to get in range to. I forced Vladimir's teleport here again after I killed him. Otherwise he'd lose a ton of minions, and so he's not going to be able to use that for any sort of team scenario for a very long time. I'm staying in the lane right now just to push up and continue applying some damage upon him, get some damage onto the turret. Mid lane's doing pretty good. There was a counter gank. Now, going back to using Ghost in lane, many times, I didn't do it in this this game, but I do it in some of my other videos, and we'll do it definitely in the future videos. I'm definitely going to highlight that sort of stuff. So I often use Ghost like very early on, the first few levels, so that I can constantly push down, so that I can chase down an opponent and just force them to use Flash. Because once Urgot has a really strong early game, and if you can constantly get those Acid Hunters and auto attacks on, there really isn't too much they can do. They end up running away to their tower, and they can survive by using Flash, but if they're low enough, you can still use Flash to get at them. to finish them. And that often nets you a very, very early kill. So, just going back for a little bit, what I did over there, again, was I called over the Vi. Now, Vladimir was pretty pushed up, but he wasn't pushed up enough. You always have to play in the sort of middle ground. Like, it's not often that the wave's going to be pushed up to you, so you need to take advantage of wherever it is currently, and predict where it's going to be. If it's going to be at the enemy's turret pretty soon, that's a bit of a problem, but that doesn't mean you can gank. You can't gank. You can set things up very conveniently if you just have that sort of coordination with your jungler. So I picked up a Manamune and a Brutalizer. This takes me up to 22.51% cooldown reduction. Do note, I'm taking 5% flat CDR, that's 6 CDR glyphs, as well as 5% scaling CDR, that's 3 CDR, scaling CDR blues. I take this because it opens up a huge variety of builds for Urgot, and I'm just going to explain this again. So Urgot's sort of threshold is at 32% CDR, around there. If you net for, like in a perfect world, it's about 25%, but if there's delay and ping, all that, it goes up to maybe about 32. It all depends on your sort of connection. But 32 is a really great area. Now what I'm talking about is the threshold in which you can get 4 Acid Hunters off in the duration of 1 Noxian Corrosive Charge. Usually you can only get 3. And so getting that 1 extra, the 4 Acid Hunters, increases Urgot's damage tremendously. And not only that, you still get all the other benefits of CDR. And since Urgot's got these really spammable skills, is Noxian Corrosive Charge, which can be used not only to constantly, it can be used to shred opponents' armor, to check bushes and such. Acid Hunter as well. And then just the damage component. And then Terra Capacitor. That is such a powerful shield now. Riot completely overdid it with her buff, and now it just turns Urgot into this incredible tank. Notice that I pushed up the wave, and then rushed immediately to Dragon. I had the timer exactly. Every single game I play, I always time the Dragon and the Baron about 2 minutes before they come up. 1 minute, 30 seconds, 1 minute. I always keep tabs on that. And so here I pop Ghost, and then I'm gonna back up a little bit. So we finished Dragon, and then the idea, what we're going to do, is just rush and collapse on them. The Thresh is kind of tanking for Jinx. I pop Ghost, use the little Shrine buff, and then my ult is level 1, so I flash and ult Corki. He can't get away now. He does his little jumpy thingy, but none of this has my back on that. Now Vladimir, he took teleport. That's great, you know, but it's kind of a late time. So he finally got in. Whoop-de-doo. And he's dead. So good timing on Dragon turned into an excellent fight. Now, there were some mistakes on the enemy side. I won't deny that. Vladimir should have come in much earlier. My goal in this video is mostly just to teach you how to work around the map, how to not stay in the lane, but rather to just make that pressure. It's not always about outplaying your opponent. It's about out-rotating your opponent, out-planning your opponent, out-thinking your opponent. And if you can pick off those Dragon times, if you can constantly make those sorts of things happen, if you can push up the wave just enough to make your opponent make a decision to freeze it or to push up, if you can force them to freeze it, if you can get into the mindset of that person, then you can make things happen. You can take dragons, you can secure them for the rest of the game once you have that timer. Now, I picked up a Glacial Shroud and Ninja Tabi because Vladimir is a complete non-issue. Where's that C button? Ah, I see. So, with Glacial Shroud, that took me up to 33% CDR. Now, if I get Frozen Heart, I'm only missing out on 5% CDR in total after everything is said and done, once I'm level 18. And if that means that I can get a power spike earlier on, then I'm completely fine with that. It's totally worth the CDR investment in the additional glyphs. Now, it's not just about the Frozen Heart though. There are more items than Frozen Heart. Urgot has tons of builds open to him, and I'm going to be touching on some of those in upcoming videos, particularly like a Cinder God. Telesmite Cinder God, who can get tier at level 2. And Righteous Glory, man. So there are tons of other builds available to Urgot, and taking those additional CDR allow you to be adaptive, to pick up, say, an Iceborne Gauntlet in the game, if that is, if that's good work for you. In this game I actually do pick up a Iceborne Gauntlet, and I'll show you why. So, in here, Vladimir is trying to tank for his team. I mean, it's a 3v5? And we're just coming up. Alright, so our front line had some trouble, and I'm just right behind Nautilus. We're just doing our thing. Finish off Thresh, go on, pop Ghost to follow that Jarvan, and he's a goner. Quadra kill. Urgot brings in a ton of damage, a lot of consistent damage, and if you can continue to get that damage off, there's no running away, and there's no stopping him. So from here, it's just a push. You kill them, you can get a free tower. They're down just for a little longer, dragging this up in 2 minutes, so we decide to get the Scuttle Crab. And I pick up these little wolves so that I can purchase a little more. And then I go straight for a Last Whisper, because I already have my CDR threshold, so might as well get some more damage. Now Zed's pushing bot. Can he get away? I've got Flash, so there's absolutely no way that he's going to survive this. The rest of my team collapses, and it's pretty cool. Zed uses his his shadow to survive my first Acid Hunter, but that's nothing. With Zed dead, dragons coming up soon, we can see I came over mid lane to try and pick one of them off. We had a ward right there so we could see them. I wanted to flash ult somebody, but that didn't happen. So we get a free dragon. Third dragon. And what now? We push up. So we didn't want to overdo it. We actually made a bad decision here. We stayed way too long and allowed them to push up. And because they pushed up, they were able to get a free turret. If Jinx and I had recalled earlier, we probably would have been able to stop that. But even so, great times. We got our little Ahri and Nautilus doing their disruption thing, pushing them up, and then I just flash ulted in there, and the fight continues. I'm ghosting in. Who can I catch? Thresh. And Jarvan's thinking, what can I do for him? No, he's screwed. So that's that. And from there, with Jarvan dead, we consider getting Baron, but there's the turret, the inhibitor. It's pretty much free. And timers are still pretty low. So we just move on to that. So, finalizing up. Oh, there's this one thing. I stayed after that because I realized that Zed was coming down bot lane, and free kill. I mean, if I had gone back, then he would have been able to take the turret probably, and so on and so forth. But one problem there was I missed an Acid Hunter. That kind of almost bit me back, but I was able to survive because I'm so far ahead. Now, that wouldn't have been nearly as close if I had actually hit my my Noxian Corrosive Charge, because I got blocked by minions. So yeah, in here I got my Iceborne Gauntlet, and that's the idea. You know, I'm so far ahead. I could get Frozen Heart, but I won't be around my team very much. Just more damage, more turret damage if I want to push alone. I kind of just walk over here because in this situation, I actually have my cat walking around my screen and I didn't see anything. So they just kind of, you know, they don't really do any damage to me. Let's kind of through with that, you know? Good game, folks! So yeah, I hope you can take some of that information into your following games. Definitely just think about where you're going with Urgot. Always be trying to do something. And hope you enjoyed. You have a good one.